Everybody's got to die, but this cemetery is full of people who've died in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And every one of them that dies of natural causes has died of a nutritional deficiency disease. This is a blind spot for the medical profession. They don't get a single 30 seconds of training in nutrition, and as a result, 90% of the people in this graveyard have died long before their genetic potential of 120 and 140.
I'm your host, Holly Palomo. Our in-studio guest is Dr. Joel D. Wallach. Thanks for being here, Dr. Wallach.
Well, thank you, Holly. It's great being with you.
You make a pretty bold statement there when you say dead doctors don't lie. Why do you say that?
Well, Holly, Americans are led to believe by the medical profession that there's no hope, there's no cures, there's no preventions for degenerative diseases such as heart disease, cancer, arthritis, cataracts, glaucoma, diabetes, and as a result, their life savings are being cannibalized by the medical profession for simply Band-Aid treatments for what I call physician-caused diseases. And again, all these diseases, including Alzheimer's disease and cancer and so forth, are in fact preventable, are in fact treatable, and as a result, I believe that the Americans have been misled more than any other people. They have actually, the American medical profession has killed more Americans with a single sentence.
What's that sentence?
Than all of the foreign armies that ever killed Americans. And that sentence says you can get everything you need from your 4 food groups. And as a result, the physician in America doesn't take vitamins and minerals as a group. They don't take supplements, and so they make a great control group for the rest of us. And 85% of Americans do take supplementation in one form or another, maybe vitamin C or vitamin E or whatnot. And doctors, if you look at them as a group, if you separate them out from the general public, if they knew what they were talking about for health and longevity, they should be healthier and they should live longer. I mean, this is simple 4th grade logic, right?
Right, sounds right.
Sounds logical. And so when you separate them out, though, you find something very terrifying. The medical doctors in America, their average lifespan is 58, and the average lifespan for the average American is 75.5. So you can gain 20 years statistically simply by not going to medical school.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your professional background.
Well, actually, it starts, the Wallach story starts back when I was on a beef farm in Missouri. And as a teenager, I noticed that we did something special for those calves. We would grind up the feed, the corn and the soybeans and the hay, and we would add vitamins and minerals and trace minerals to that. And this is some 50 plus years ago. And we would make pellets and we'd feed those calves, and after 6 to 9 months, we'd ship them off to market and butcher them. And we ate out of those very same fields as a family. We'd save back 5 rows of corn for the family. We had a garden at the end of the field where we grew our tomatoes and squash and carrots and beans and peas and whatnot. And we didn't do that same thing for ourselves. We didn't take vitamins and minerals for ourselves, and we wanted to live to be 100 with no aches and pains. Now, that fascinated me. And so my dad, of course, when I'd ask him, say, "Hey, Pops, how come we do all that for the calves and not for ourselves?" And being an old Missouri farmer, he'd say things like, "Shut up, boy."
Do as I say.
Yes, exactly. Right. Don't ask complicated questions. And so I went on to ag school at the University of Missouri, and my major was in animal husbandry and nutrition. My minor was in field crops and soils, and I began to learn technical things about how to grow the maximum yield in terms of tons and bushels per acre of ground with a simple fertilizer called NPK, and what that meant to nutrition for animals and people. And I didn't get a real answer to my basic question, though, until I went to veterinary school again at the University of Missouri. And what I learned was the reason why we put all these vitamins and minerals and trace minerals into animal feeds is because we don't have insurance for them. We don't have Blue Cross, Blue Shield, major medical, hospitalization, Medicare, or Medicaid. And if we were to use a human health care type of system for animals, it'd be sticker shock for everybody, Holly. The hamburger would cost people $275 a pound.
Oh, my.
Yes, that'd be a wake-up call, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And so we learned that we could keep the cost of animal products such as meat and eggs and dairy products within the average means of an American simply by preventing and curing diseases with nutrition. Now, that fascinated me. After graduating vet school, though, I went to Africa for 2 years and got to work with Marlon Perkins.
Oh,
yeah, from the old
Mutual of Omaha,
Mutual
sure,
Omaha.
Wild Kingdom.
Hey, you got it. And that was a lot of fun. Got to play Frank Buck for 2 years, use a tranquilizer gun, and wander all over Africa catching. I was an extra large animal vet because they taught me how to catch elephants and rhinos and how to track, and it's really not difficult to track a herd of elephants. So
I wouldn't imagine so. They leave rather large tracks.
Yes, large tracks. And so after 2 years of doing that, Marlon sent me a telegram, invited me back to Missouri to work at the St. Louis Zoo and Washington University in the Botanical Gardens because they'd gotten a $7.5 million grant to study pollution and its effect in large populations of animals and people. It was, again, some 30 plus years ago before anybody really knew what all this meant, although they did identify pollution in our air, water, and food. And my job was to do autopsies of animals that died of natural causes, to find out a species that was ultra-sensitive to pollution, which we could use as an early warning system, a monitoring system, much like the old coal miners used to use a canary.
Oh,
Okay, the canary in the mine thing.
Yeah.
And to make a long story short, after some 12 years working on that project and working in all the big zoos in the United States, I had, in fact, done 17,500 autopsies of over 454 species of animals, plus 3,000 human beings for comparison. And again, what I learned was very frightening. What I learned was that every animal and every human being who dies of natural causes dies of nutritional deficiency disease.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I got excited about this nutrition thing again.
Yeah.
And so what I did, I wrote 75 scientific papers in veterinary journals and medical journals and pathology journals, contributed to 8 multi-author textbooks on the subject, wrote one of my own, 1,000 pages, cost $140 for medical students, and I got on 20/20 with Hugh Downs and Geraldo before he got his nose broke for the first time. And then was on every network TV, 1,700 newspapers, lectured all across the United States. I couldn't get anybody excited about this finding that everybody dying of natural causes died of a nutritional deficiency disease. So I got frustrated enough, I went back to Portland, Oregon, went back to school for 4 years and became a physician. And I got to use everything I learned about veterinary nutrition on my human patients. And it was no great surprise to me that it just worked like a charm. Yes, you can prevent diseases with nutrition. And it didn't take long when the word got out that, hey, this Dr. Wallach treats you like a dog, but you get better. So these people, the word got out, and hundreds of people used to call every day and ask, hey, can I get some of this veterinary nutrition advice?
Right.
And my wife and I started actually putting out a little pamphlet to try and answer the common questions, and that just generated more interest. So we finally had to come out with a book, which is now a bestseller, called Let's Play Doctor. Let's Play Doctor. You've never heard that before?
I haven't.
No, you haven't heard that before. No. And this book actually teaches people how to use vitamins and minerals and trace minerals to prevent and make significant progress in treating 400 diseases. It's the best investment in their life. This little book, Let's Play Doctor.
That's
and
amazing.
then by popular demand, another book came out, and actually is an add-on to that book, Let's Play Doctor. It's called Rare Earth's Forbidden Cures. It talks about the 72 minerals that are found in human tissues and animal tissues and blood, 60 of which, the minerals, are actually known to be essential.
But you know, when you read the labels on food, they sure don't mention 72 different minerals or vitamins.
Oh, heavens no. And that's because our soils are depleted, and this is why we have so many problems.
I see.
Okay. Now, again, remember, I said we used a very simple fertilizer for over 100 years, NPK. It only takes about 10 years to deplete the soils of the nutritional minerals that animals and people need. We actually have 90 essential nutrients that we need. By definition, essential nutrient, your body cannot make it. And number two, if it's missing, if any nutrient is missing, it's an essential nutrient, you get an average of 10 diseases. So 10 diseases times 90 nutrients is 900 diseases that are preventable with proper supplementation. And 60 minerals times 10 is 600 diseases that are actually caused by mineral deficiency diseases. And again, we're talking about diabetes and cancer and heart disease and arthritis. And so we're talking some major diseases here that can be prevented with nutrition.
How can the wealthiest industry in the world with so much money overlook simple nutrition?
Well, Holly, nutrition is a blind spot for the medical profession. They don't get 30 seconds of nutritional training. You leave that to the nurses and the Boy Scouts and moms and dads and things like that. And as a result, anytime a disease comes forth that is actually caused by nutritional deficiency, they don't recognize it. Everything today is caused by genetics when you talk to the medical profession.
Right. Well, give us an example of what diseases can be prevented by nutrition.
Okay, Holly, one of my favorite diseases is arthritis, because 75% of all Americans over the age of 50 get it in one form or another, and there's not a single medical treatment designed to fix it. Aspirin doesn't fix arthritis and can cause gastric bleeding and death. Tylenol doesn't fix arthritis and can result in, and does result in 50,000 cases of kidney failure a year, 5,000 of which are severe enough they require kidney transplant. Ibuprofen, Advil don't fix arthritis, can cause liver damage in 2 to 5% of the users. Methotrexate and gold shots don't fix arthritis and can result in bone marrow depression and in birth defects in pregnant women who are using the methotrexate. And prednisone and cortisone don't fix arthritis, and they do cause depression of the immune system, as well as accelerate mineral loss from the bones and teeth and other organs and tissues. And when these over-the-counter and prescription medications don't work anymore to reduce pain and inflammation, the only thing left medically for an arthritis sufferer is joint replacement surgery. You need new hips, new knees, fuse your vertebrae together, new shoulders, and you're actually becoming a bionic person for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And really all you need is about 10 to 20 cents a day worth of a few minerals to actually prevent or reverse this trend. Now, let me tell you that as a veterinarian, I never felt comfortable with my patients. You know, I'm a physician and a veterinarian, so I never felt comfortable with my patients being shunted off to a surgeon to get a joint replaced. And so I looked into my veterinary background and said, well, is there something we do nutritionally for animals to prevent and cure arthritis? And sure enough, there is. We have nutritional formulas for pigeons and turkeys and dogs and cats and pigs and sheep and horses and cows and lions and tigers and bears.
And bears, oh
yep,
my.
Oh my. And we actually learned how to prevent and cure arthritis in animals with nutrition. So I pulled these together and adapted them to human use. And what I call Dr. Wallach's pig arthritis formula is one of the 400 formulas that you find in Let's Play Doctor. There's actually 400 formulas of how to prevent and make better, if you will. I can't use the cure word specifically directly for a particular disease, but I can say you could get 100% better. But in the medical books, you can, if you have a vitamin C deficiency, you can give vitamin C and cure the vitamin C deficiency. And so you can look in those terms. But at any rate, Dr. Wallach's pig arthritis formula is very simple. Use 5 ounces of calcium-enriched orange juice, a ½ ounce of Knox gelatin, and 1 ounce of a liquid colloidal mineral, and 1 ounce of a liquid colloidal mineral vitamin amino acid mix. And this mixture together is what I call Dr. Wallach's pig arthritis formula. And I've really literally seen 10,000 people over the last 5 years who have regrown cartilage and bone, even though they had bone-to-bone arthritis, and their physician said the only thing left for you was to get a joint replacement surgery.
Costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's right, Holly. And another example is heart disease, the #1 killer of Americans. This is another physician-caused disease, actually by erroneous and maybe even criminal nutritional advice given by the medical profession. Let me give you a very specific example. You may remember this. In April of 1993, Reggie Lewis, the captain of the Boston Celtics, 27-year-old athlete, he didn't have a gram of fat on his body. I mean, this guy was perfect shape, collapsed during a playoff game with the Charlotte Hornets, was diagnosed very accurately and very quickly with a disease called cardiomyopathy. The medical treatment of choice for cardiomyopathy, if you survive the initial heart attack, is a heart transplant for $750,000. And the Boston Celtics, because Reggie was a $65 million contract athlete, hired the top 12 cardiologists in the whole world. And they named them the Dream Team of Cardiology. You may remember that.
Sure.
And they were given $1 million each to refer all their patients out to other doctors and devote their whole time to saving Reggie. They didn't take $50 of their $1 million and give it to a medical student or a pre-med student to go to the library and ask the medical computers, what are all the known causes of cardiomyopathy? Now, if they'd have done that, the medical computers would have said, there's only one known cause of cardiomyopathy.
What's that?
It was discovered in 1957 in animals. It was proven in human beings in 1972 by a double-blind crossover study with 45,000 human subjects, the results of which was published in every medical journal in the world no less than 6 times. The only known cause of cardiomyopathy heart disease is a selenium deficiency, a trace mineral deficiency. Now, not one of those members of the Dream Team of cardiologists gave Reggie Lewis 10 cents worth of selenium. All they did was argue and bicker who was going to be rich and famous doing the heart transplant or installing the pacemaker, whatever decision they made. And as a result, 3 months after his initial attack, while they were bickering and arguing, Reggie Lewis died at age 27, July 28, 1993, of his second cardiomyopathy heart attack. Now, if you wait long enough, justice has a way of coming around. Remember, my hobby is dead doctors don't lie. I collect obituaries of doctors who die what I call of malignant, dumb reasons. These are nutritional deficiency diseases. The chief, the head of this dream team of cardiologists, a Dr. W. Thomas Nessa, 48 years old, a year and a half after Reggie Lewis died of cardiomyopathy. Guess what Dr. Nessa died from? A cardiomyopathy heart attack, because he wouldn't take the supplementation that contained the selenium. So he died of the same thing. And why would you want to do anything that a doctor told you who lives to be 48? 10 years short of the average for doctors, 30 years short for the American public.
I would think that they wouldn't know what they were talking about.
Exactly. And so when you sit back and you look at this, it is very frightening. You do not want to take advice from doctors on chronic degenerative diseases because they have absolutely no training in these areas. Another example would be high blood pressure, something as simple as high blood pressure.
Right.
They have the malignant dumb belief that high blood pressure has to do with salt consumption. The first thing that a farmer, rancher, or husbandryman puts out for his livestock, cattle and sheep, is a salt block.
Right.
So they think that the American public is malignant dumb, or dumber than a cow.
Dumber than a cow.
Dumber than a cow. Because what happens is a cow can have all the salt she wants. Right. There's no veterinarian out there for $80 a visit saying, now bossy, you have to restrict your salt.
Restrict your salt,
no.
right.
But we do that as Americans, and again, the medical profession believes that you can prevent high blood pressure by restricting salt. And as a result of this advice, 550 people in Chicago died in July during the heat wave because they had a salt deficiency. They were given a salt-restricted diet. That's why, I mean, think of all the millions of people who live in the deserts of the world, and they don't die, and they don't have air conditioning.
And they don't have air conditioning.
It's a simple salt deficiency. Now, they also believe that you can actually treat high blood pressure by restricting salt. And the government spent $30 million on a study that was called the Sodium Task Force, and they actually looked at salt restriction as a way of controlling high blood pressure. And they found it had absolutely nothing to do with controlling or preventing high blood pressure by restricting salt. In fact, high blood pressure is due to a deficiency of the mineral calcium. The simple symptom of calcium deficiency is high blood pressure, osteoporosis, certain forms of arthritis, foot and leg cramps, insomnia, muscle twitches, and a whole litany of other things, including Bell's palsy and spinal stenosis and so forth. All these are calcium deficiency diseases. Remember, 10 diseases for each nutrient that's deficient.
Right.
And so you shouldn't be too surprised then that doctors don't know these things because they don't get 30 seconds worth of nutrition. And we could go on and on. Alzheimer's disease is another one. They give you the erroneous advice, give up cholesterol. 75% of your brain weight is pure cholesterol.
Right.
You can only make a third of your daily need.
Right, because your body makes some of it. Sure.
A little bit. Now, if you give up all your cholesterol and 75% of your brain weight is pure cholesterol, after a period of years on a zero cholesterol diet, what's the first thing that goes, Holly?
Probably
the old squashola.
Yeah.
It's not your hips. It's not your hips. It's the head that
it's
goes
the head.
first. Yeah. And so this is why I say that all these diseases are physician-caused diseases. Heart disease, #1 killer. Cancer, the #2 killer. Diabetes, the #3 killer. Alzheimer's disease, today the #4 killer of Americans over the age of 65. All of these are physician-caused diseases. They're preventable by the correct approach to nutrition, the correct approach to supplementation with the essential 90 nutrients, including the 60 essential minerals. And certainly heart transplants and all their medications and vaccines haven't increased longevity. In fact, in America, the lifespan has dropped from 78.5 in 1990 to 1995 it's 75.5. We've dropped 3 years.
And you would think that with all of the information out there that we should be going up even higher.
Exactly. I'll give you one more scary thought here.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. The Russian lifespan has dropped 7 years in the last 5 years. It was 64 5 years ago before the breakup of the Soviet Union. Once the Soviet Union broke up, it has now dropped. Their lifespan is now 57. They've lost more than 11% of their lifespan in just a few years. And the director of the studies on this from the University of London came out and said, there's no historical precedence for this. We know the reason.
What kinds of things should people be looking for if they're looking for signs of mineral deficiency? Obviously, we don't have time to cover all of the diseases here today.
Well, the earliest signs are recognizable by everybody, even medical doctors if they pay attention, Holly.
Right.
Say, for instance, white, gray, or silver hair is the first symptom of a copper deficiency. And of course, this is a cosmetic thing to the average person, but it's more sinister than that because a serious copper deficiency results in a breakdown of the elastic fibers in arteries, which results in an aneurysm, which will rupture and you die suddenly from a copper deficiency. And of course, a selenium deficiency, which can lead to cardiomyopathy, heart disease.
Talked about earlier.
Yep. The first symptoms are these little age or liver spots that people get on the back of their hands. And then, of course, you have things like low blood sugar, which are the first symptoms of a chromium and vanadium deficiency, which will lead to diabetes, right? And then, of course, you get arthritis, which is the first symptom of a calcium. Actually, even before that, you get perhaps foot cramps or muscle twitches, insomnia, high blood pressure. These are all early warning symptoms of calcium deficiency, which leads to more sinister things like arthritis and osteoporosis.
Now, should I go out to the store, health food store, grocery store, or whatever, and just buy any vitamin or mineral out there?
It's not quite that simple, unfortunately. And you did what most people do. You talk about vitamins. There's actually 90 essential nutrients, which include 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids. And fortunately for human beings over the thousands of years we've been around, plants, our food plants, grains, fruits, and vegetables can manufacture vitamins and amino acids and fatty acids because these are carbon chains. The things we have problems with are minerals, actually. Vitamins won't even work without minerals.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and nothing works without minerals. Your body chemistry won't work without minerals. We need them as cofactors. Plants cannot manufacture these. These are only available if there's minerals in the soil in which the plant grows in. And there's actually a Senate document, U.S. Senate Document 264, which was published in 1936, 60 years ago. 60 years ago, which says there's no longer any nutritional minerals left in our farm and range soils.
Oh.
So this is why we have all these degenerative diseases in America, not because we have a prednisone deficiency or a penicillin deficiency. And there's basically 3 types of minerals you have to be concerned with. One is the earliest form of supplementation that goes back 10,000 years. These are elemental minerals like clays and limestone and oxides and oyster shell and eggshell. These are only 3 to 5% available to the average adult. Then we had an improvement of these to chelated minerals, where you add the amino acids and proteins to the metallic atom. It increases the absorbability to 40% for adults. But the way that animals and people were designed to absorb minerals, Holly, is in a colloidal form. Now, we get colloidal minerals from plants. Plants have the ability to take metallic minerals from the soil, convert them in their own tissues using the sun's energy and photosynthesis, converting these elemental minerals to colloidal minerals. And then, of course, they use them for their own chemical reactions. And we eat the plants and get some. However, U.S. Senate Document 264 says no longer any minerals left in our soil.
Right, we don't have them all in there.
We don't have them in there. And, of course, as a result, we get all these mineral deficiency diseases. Now, again, being sort of an average dumb farm boy, I kind of look at the reality of things, and there's no less than 6 cultures on Earth who actually live to be 120 to 140 with no degenerative diseases. They were written up in the National Geographic, January of 1973, a special issue on longevity. And these people, even though they're different races, different religions, and different cultures, all have a common denominator. They all irrigate with glacial milk, which is comprised of 60 to 72 minerals from the ground-up rocks that the glaciers are on. They irrigate with these, and as a result, these 60 to 72 minerals go back in the soil. Their plants get these minerals and are rich with these colloidal minerals. As a result, they don't have diabetes, they don't have cancer, they don't have heart disease, they don't have arthritis, they don't have glaucoma, cataracts, and they don't have a single doctor, clinic, or hospital.
You know, there are a lot of fads out there. You know, everything from oat bran to fish oils. How do you distinguish those? How do you get past that to get the minerals that you need?
Well, the first thing you have to realize very quickly is that whenever the medical profession comes out with something new, that is the cause of all things. When they first discovered bacteria hundreds of years ago, bacteria caused everything from insanity to infertility. And then it was the viruses, and they had all these culture techniques for viruses, and everything was caused by viruses, from insanity to infertility and cancer. And now it's genetics. They have this technique for genetics, so everything is genetics. And so the first thing a person has to do is get information so they can be aware of what's going on. Just like these self-help books, how to change your oil, how to put roofing on, and so forth. don't give your total responsibility for your health to a doctor, a nurse, or a candlestick maker, or anybody else. Do it yourself first, and you'll be much safer. You'll save yourself an enormous amount of unnecessary misery, a gob of money, and you'll add many healthful years to your life. And the best place to start is with Let's Play Doctor, that best-selling book.
That book of yours.
Yep, which teaches you how to use vitamins and minerals and herbs and alternative therapies for over 400 diseases.
So the 4 food groups don't work.
Don't work, Holly.
The soil's depleted.
Yep.
We've been getting wrong information from doctors who live 20 years less than we do. How do we get on the right track?
Well, the next thing a person has to do once they get information, number one, you got to get information.
Right.
Observe the early warning symptoms, such as the gray hair and the liver spots, low blood sugar, high blood pressure, foot cramps, muscle twitches, and then you have to take action. And here's where you want to make sure that you take in all 90 essential nutrients, including the 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids. Dr. Wallach's pig arthritis formula contains 87 of the 90 known essential nutrients. And of course, the only way to get this is by coming to our free seminars. And also, you can get a hold of the U.S. Senate Document 264. You can get a hold of the books Let's Play Doctor, and you can get a hold of the books Rare Earths, Forbidden Cures, again by calling this 800 number or participating in these free seminars. Call the 800 number. It's our 800 number.
Well, Dr. Wallach, I really appreciate you being with us today. It's been very informative. Just remember, everybody, dead doctors don't lie.